Hey everybody, welcome to a Tatter-a-fact at the Girlz studio here in Las Vegas, and I'm feeling pretty good today. I got a really cool guest who's got lots of opinions and excited to share them, and I'm really excited to hear them. So everybody welcome Moses Garcia to the show.
Hello, Moses.
Moses. I like that
Moses
name.
Garcia. Yeah, some people call me Moises, but it's not the Spanish version, more the English version.
More the English version.
Moses.
All right. Well, I like
Yeah.
that. Moses. So
Right.
your company is No Limits Cosmetics. No
Yes, ma'am.
Limits Cosmetics. That's where they can find you on Instagram. You are out of Arlington, Texas.
Yeah, I didn't.
Go ahead.
What were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say Arlington, Texas. Work at Arlington, Texas. A lot of people in the area are always like, "Man, you drive way to Arlington," because I actually don't live in Arlington, Texas. I drive like 40 minutes just to get to Arlington, Texas. But the reason why is because of the location. Location is important.
Yeah,
you gotta have a good location, and you gotta have a location. Well, we have like the AT&T Stadium over here, so Dallas Cowboys. And Arlington is really known, for Rangers, the Cowboys, and
right.
so it's it's in the middle, and it's about 30 minutes. The radius around all the major cities are around Arlington, so that's the reason why my location's in Arlington. That's why I'm willing to drive. Sometimes you got to be willing to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Location matters.
Well,
yeah.
They say location, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let me just do a little. So you started in 2018, so almost 6 years ago, and I think this is really interesting. I got a couple little stories that I want to tell my listeners before we kind of dig into PMU topics. And I really love this about you. I learned this, that you were actually a trash truck driver, or garbage truck driver. I think they're called different things in different cities, but you were driving a garbage truck.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a front load driver.
Front load driver.
So I'm the one that used to pick up those big dumpsters, probably even at your location. They got those big dumpsters.
Yeah.
So I drove around and did that.
Yeah, my trash men love us because we give him cookies, we tip him on Christmas, we know his birthday. Yeah, so we're really good to our trash truck drivers. But it was about 4:30 in the morning. You were driving. I don't know if you were happy where you were in your life. I'm assuming like you were maybe questioning what you were kind of doing in your life at the moment, because you were driving 4:30 in the morning and you heard a lecture that Denzel Washington gave, and he was actually quoting Les Brown. And the quote, I'm just going to paraphrase, but it was, "You're in your deathbed and the ghosts."
The
ghosts
the
of
ideas you didn't act on.
Right.
Of all the potential you had.
Yes.
They're angry. They're upset.
Yes.
They say, "We came to you because we could have brought you to life," they said.
Yeah.
You're going to take us to the grave together. So basically, you're just trying to find your passion, because we're all gifted, right? We all have a passion.
Well, yes.
And
do you know, I always say one of my favorite things I always try to remind people is we regret way more, Moses, the things we did not do in life, the things we didn't have the balls to go do in life, than the things we did do that maybe we're not so proud of, right?
Yeah.
You always regret way more the things you just didn't do. So I always encourage everybody, look, if there's something you want to do, it's important to make it happen. So how you ended up on my podcast, it was later at night, and I was scrolling on Instagram, which I never do. I just don't really peruse Instagram too much.
Yeah.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't. But I check my DMs and maybe a couple accounts of like my friends, but I'm not a big scroller. But that particular night, I was sitting in the living room watching TV, and I'm scrolling through Instagram, and a video of you just like kind of popped up, and I listened to it. And why I listened to it, I don't know, because a lot of times I just keep scrolling. But I stopped and I listened to it, and you were asking if anybody wanted to do a collaboration with you. You wanted to do a collaboration. If anybody's interested in doing a collab, you wanted to start working with people, and you just kind of put it out there. And
yeah, and it was something I've been wanting to do. for over a year. It's one of those things, like you said, you want to get to it, but you never get to it.
Right. Right.
And I was like, there ain't no way. I don't need to be perfect. I was like, just get in the car. Just let people know you want to do it and just do it. Because sometimes you got to do that. You want to set it up a certain way and do it the right way. But sometimes there ain't a right way. Sometimes you just got to do it. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I'm glad I did it. Because look, now I got to be on the, podcast
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah. Well, it prompted me. It struck me. It hit me a certain way, like some type of way. It just hit me. And I appreciated what you were doing. I appreciated your message and your ask and putting it out there. And it just prompted me to DM you. And I did. And I just asked you if you want to be on my podcast. And here you are. So I just think that's really kind of cool.
Hey, and by the way, y'all, I was going to fly to her.
Yeah, you were. Well, you were.
I literally bought tickets. I was like, you know what? I'm going to fly down there and meet her in person. That's all.
I know. Well, the other morning, 3 or 4 mornings ago, it's like you emailed me and I'm reading it and I'm like, you're telling me what time you land and this and that and the other. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy thinks he's flying in for the podcast.
Yeah, tickets paid. Tickets paid. I was ready to go see
you. I appreciate that a whole lot. But one of these days, hopefully you do come up to Vegas and do something.
That'd be awesome. I've never been to Vegas, so that would have been another thing.
You've
I would have been to Vegas the first time, and it would have been to meet you.
Oh, man. I know. But we're going to make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, we will.
All right. So look, we got some things to talk about. So that's what got you into permanent makeup. So obviously, when you were driving that morning, right, and you heard that message, that lecture from Denzel Washington, it struck you some type of way. Were you not feeling satisfied where you were in your life? Were you on a path of searching for something more meaningful to do, or?
Yeah, it was just the fact that I was at that company for 4.5 years. Good job. Trash man make good money. I was making $36 an hour. It wasn't bad. I had a comfortable life, and I think that's what all we go through, right? So then I'm hearing that motivational thing, and it had me question after it got done, because like I said, the whole thing with that, if y'all ain't seen it, y'all need to check it out with Denzel Washington. But it had me question, like, am I doing God's purpose? Mm-hmm. Like, am I truly doing it? I was like, nah, I'm a trash man. Like, God, you really got me on this earth. This is what I'm supposed to do for the next until I retire, is dump trash the rest of my life. So I'm like, there's got to be a purpose. And his response is more like, man, Moses, I bless you with a talent in art, and you don't even use it. That's the way it was sounded to me. That's the way I heard it. Was like, and you don't even use it. Like, I've given you it, and I started thinking about it, and what did I used to draw? So God highlighted the fact that what I used to draw, I used to always pick up a pen and pad. And now you got a couple of people, artists, right? Some artists can come up with cool creativity on paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I wasn't really an artist.
Like right out of their imagination.
Yeah, well, I wasn't the artist to come up with creativity like that. I hated that about me. I was the artist that, when you're in science class, or not science, art class, they put something in the middle of the room, and you had all the kids around would draw it and see who can draw it. That's what I was used to, so I used to do that a lot. So I can never come up with creativity. I can draw what I see, and I can put it anywhere I want, whether I want to make it small or big, whatever. But the thing is, like, God highlighted that I used to actually draw when I did draw, and I did use them. I used to draw women's eyebrows and their eyes and their lashes. That's what I used to draw, and it hit me. It got me into. I used to run across a lot of microblading stuff, so I ran across some microblading videos, and I was like, man, I would love to do that. And I was like, oh, maybe that's what God wants me to do. Maybe He wants me to give back. Maybe I could do that for people that have cancer and they lose their eyebrows. That'd be a good way for me to leave a footprint on this earth. But again, I was broke. I didn't have the money, and I literally had to, 8 months came down the line of me just thinking about it, because we all get that, right? God shows us a vision. He shows you what we could be doing, and a lot of times we wait and we don't really pursue it, Mm-hmm. And by that time, we've already been convinced that it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to do it, and it just takes just a few minutes of just ruining something that God had showed you, because He'll keep showing it. He'll keep showing it to you, whether you didn't see it now, the next year He's going to keep reminding you, hey, what about this? And you're going to be like, man, maybe I should do that. Well, 8 months goes down the line, and I'm desperate at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm living in a 2-bedroom duplex. My daughter, they're all sleeping in one bedroom. And we're living check to check. There's times when I have to freaking cut grass just to make it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we've all been in a really bad situation. So where we want change. And at that time, my wife, thank God that she wanted to go look at homes. And at that time, I used to always be like, man, I got bad credit. We ain't got money. But I never tell her that. But I'll be like, you know what? I'll go look at these homes with you, even though I don't think we can afford it, but whatever. But thank God that she did that, because my 3 daughters going in that house and wanting to, and being excited and claiming their room. That's going to be my room. This is going to be my room. It really lit a fire under me. I was like, man, you know what? I need to do this. I know if I did this. So if you're struggling right now and like doing anything that has to help others, uplift others, that can't be anything more successful than that. That's what I would consider success. You know what I mean? When you can uplift another individual with the God get the talent that you're given, just like you do,
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in the beauty industry. We're all doing something to uplift somebody. I have so many women that come in here that are divorced, you know what I mean? That are down. They don't really do things for themselves because they're a mother for so long that they kind of lose themselves in a way, So I see that. So having these conversations with them, it's great to be able to uplift them, make them feel happy, seeing them tearing up, or even having conversations. Like, look at the amount of people that we actually like run across and talk to that we get to have all these conversations, and it's just awesome, because it's more than just an appointment. Sometimes it's like a therapy session, if you ask me, I see it like that.
Oftentimes.
I like to listen to them and hear them and relate to them and motivate them. And, it's more than just an appointment. But anyways, I got motivated by getting that house. It was during COVID. I freaking didn't have the money, but went ahead and signed on the house, and did it. And it motivated me, it motivated me to hustle. And I hope it motivates anybody else to hustle, just take that risk, just do it. I mean, at that time, I didn't have the money and I did it. And at that time, you don't have time to think about it. If you're desperate and you're in a situation where you're struggling and you hate where you're at and you just want to make money for yourself, you want to feel independent, and you're looking for something to help others, like, just go for it. These services, any beauty services, whether it's areola tattooing, brows, lips, it just takes one. Don't overwhelm yourself. Like, just do one at a time and stick with it,
Yeah. So you do, and that's a really good message, because I think right now too, there's a lot of people, hurting, with the economy and just the way things are in the world right now. We see our industry going through a big change. We see lots of PMU artists, not being able to build a clientele. They're getting second jobs, or they're just leaving the industry. We're seeing people, close down left and right. So that's a really a great message. I feel if they're meant to be in here and they want it bad enough, then that's what you do. You go get a second job and you make it work. That's what I had to do. My first 3 years doing permanent makeup, 22 years ago, I worked a second job at night while I built, my skills and my clientele.
And how long did you say you did that for?
3 years.
I did mine for like 2 years.
Yeah.
I did 2 years of just dumping a trash can, and then while I was dumped, going on my phone, and you got to hustle. I'm messaging people, and then go to my next can and dump that one. I message this person, and like it's a hustle. You got to be willing to.
It is a hustle. It is a hustle, and it takes a hustle and grind, determination, commitment, and belief in yourself. If you really, really want it, if you feel this is what you're supposed to do and this is what you want for yourself, then.
Well, a lot of people think it's fast and they think it's quick, and
that's what a lot of people are promoting, though, Moses. And so, so you get the newcomer, the newbie into the industry that doesn't know any better, and this is what's being, promoted. I mean, they're promoting 6-figure incomes, and that's all obtainable. I mean, you can make a 6-figure income in this industry, but not in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe not even 5 years. I mean, it takes time.
You got to be consistent.
You got to be consistent.
And here's the deal. Here's the biggest thing is right when you get done with your class, you got so much support. Everyone's like, hey, pick me. I want to get my eyebrows done. Right? It's a lot of good noise. Everyone's supporting you.
Yeah.
Right? It's so great. You're like, all right, this is going good. And guess what? A week later, it's quiet.
Yeah.
You hear crickets. No one's supporting you. No one's even liking your posts. No one's messaging you no more. And that's the most important part is you got to be your own cheerleader, like you have to. How many times I've had to like cheer myself on? How many times it can even be someone as close as your husband or your spouse, what I'm saying? It could be your wife. It could be someone that just kind of, they're not really giving you the positive feedback because things aren't going well at the time, and it's scary. You're not sure what's going on. Hey, I thought you were going to make this much money. I thought you were going to do this, and you got to be your biggest cheerleader. Like, you have to. That's the hardest part. That's why people quit, because they think they're going to do it. They get all the support. They got all these hands up. I want to do it. Can you do me next?
Yeah.
And then it gets quiet and they get discouraged. You know, you can't, you got to stay in your lane. You can't focus on this artist or who this person's doing better or this person's doing better. Like, you literally got to just focus on what you want to do, how much better you can get. Use it as inspiration. You know what I'm saying? I look at other artists. I'm like, wow, that's freaking great. Like, I want to get to that level. I'm going to save that video, you know, instead of other people, they see it and they get discouraged. I'm like, I'm never going to be that great. Of course, no one's that great. It takes time. You know, you got to be consistent.
Yeah.
Here's the biggest thing. You want to know why people don't get successful at doing PMU? Because a lot of them want to get comfortable and they don't want to put themselves in situations to where they got to like hustle. They want to do it out of their house, which you ain't supposed to do it. You know, they don't want to put themselves in a situation where they got to pay a booth rent. And that's the biggest thing. Because whenever I got done doing permanent makeup, when I learned it, I jumped into a booth. And even though at that time it was $200 to $200 a week, and my wife's like, that's $800 a month. We don't even have that money. You know, I didn't look at it that way. Somebody else is going to have that money. You know what I'm saying? It's not coming out of your pocket. You got it. This is your goal. You got 7 days to find one person a week. That's going to pay that. That's going to pay my suite rent. And then what that's going to do is going to keep you consistent with hustling, because you ain't trying to pay that. I ain't got that money. I'm not trying to pay that in my pocket. I'm trying to get somebody to pay it because I ain't got that money. But what it did was it kept me consistent. And next thing you know, instead of having one person a week, I had 2 people a week. All right, I just profited an extra. But it's never about the profit. You know, you can't get discouraged. You gotta put yourself in a position where you're gonna be risked. You know, we're in a big risk situation and there's no out. You know, you got to do it. Otherwise, you ain't gonna be successful. But most people, that's why they do it. They think it's just gonna, you know, be a snowball effect of success, and I'm gonna make 6 figures. And it's not like that.
No, it's not like that. But it's not like that in anything. You know, it's not like that with hairdressing. It's not
Working
like that
out.
with anything. You know, anything worthwhile takes time.